Can I start? Okay. Well, how does this work? No? That's, sorry. Okay, so, well, I'm Maximiliano. I'm going to talk about modeling the rules of the game. Were any of you present last year on the Show Us Your Projects presentation? Yeah? Okay, well, those who were, this is like a bigger talk, better prepared. So I want to thank the people who had the idea from the Show Us Your Projects last year, because it gave me the confidence that I had something that was worth sharing. Okay, so that's why I'm presenting this now. I wouldn't have thought of doing this if not for the little practice I had last year with that. Okay, so, well, this is some of the points that I'm going to talk about, some agenda, but let's go on with the first part. The premise here is that, well, that games are fun. Yeah, playing games is fun, and also I have fun programming with Smalltalk. So I've decided, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that, but that it was even more fun if I could program the rules of the game, yeah, the part that was maybe boring to remember, to work with, and then have more fun or have more time to have fun playing the game, because the boring part was turned into fun by developing it. Okay, so what's my game? I mean, the game that I was working with, it's called Rolemaster. It's a tabletop pen and paper role-playing game. Okay, so people have characters, they join at the table, and they try to tell a story. I'm going to go on with game elements in a few minutes. The thing is that it's heavily based on rules and tables. Okay, we have more than 20 books with conflicting optional rules. There are even, I think, 7 books that are all optional rules. So no two gaming groups will use the same set of rules, and even my group has changed which rules considers like canon or core as the years went on. So what I decided was that it was a good idea to have to make Smalltalk help me make Smalltalk learn the rules, so that then it could help me remember the rules. Okay, so this talk is more, it's a mix of like an experience report. I'm going to tell you how it went, but also maybe some of the ideas that are presented here are useful not only if you are developing a game, but maybe any rule-based model, domain can, I don't know, take advantage. If any of you, any day, implement anything based on like one of the things I tell you, then that's a good result. So what to model when modeling a game? Well, mainly the rules. That's where you start, where you take your ideas. And then what else? The game elements that are mentioned in the rules. The rules will help you with that. So the business objects are the game elements, because in this case the game is the business. Okay, it's not what I do for a living, but when I'm gaming, it's what you call the business. So some elements, well, you have the character sheet, because that's where it tells each character what it can or cannot do in principle. Some dice to add an element of chance, and as I told you, the books and my personal notes on what to do with the books, because they have like rules, but you have to interpret them. Then you have more books, because I said, okay, I understood this, and then you have more notes, but I need to make them consistent, and that's when things start to get complicated, because you have even more book, consistent notes, and the problem when you have notes about your notes, because they are too much. So the players gather at the table, okay, but the table is filled with books, paper, notes, and calculators. That's when you see that there's a problem there. So one of them tells a story and spends most of the time looking up tables, trying to remember rules, and the others are part of, they are players play the part of the character, but are busy remembering the rules and handling their character sheets, because it says, okay, what can I do, what can't I do, and you're spending a lot of time on that instead of playing. That's what this is about. So the context in this case is, I mean, they have the game, the core rules, my style of play is given by the optional rules, and the players are also, of course, parts of the context. So that's my domain model context. So going about some stuff that I decided was good to model, and propose to you that you consider when you're having to do something like this. It's about the character. A character, it's one of the most important things in the game. Okay, it's defined. The essential elements are the race. It's maybe a human, an elf, an alien. The character also has a profession. Maybe it's a fighter, mage, a scientist. And it also has statistics, that strength, agility, intelligence. Those statistics are what define what the character is naturally good at, but then you have its skills, okay? What the training, fighting, swimming, programming. If you are modeling I don't know, an alien programmer, for instance. It also has a name, of course, to distinguish, because you can have two people that maybe have similar characteristics and train the same, but at least in the name, they may be different. So that's how it looks like in visual works, yeah, this character. It's a lot of code. For reasons of time, I'm not going to show you any code, but then you can ask me if you need. So with that information, the chance of success at a skill, it's a mix of the natural aptitude, training, and also the context. Well, apart from the dice that give the element of chance in each attempt. So, for instance, programming can be defined by the natural aptitude defined by the memory or the reasoning of the character, its years of study and practice, and then some, depending on the language suitability for the task at hand and the peer assistance maybe, you have, apart from chance, that can define the chance of success. So, for instance, if I have a programming bonus, I want to know how good a programmer might, what chance it has of doing something right. What I've modeled is something called the bonus. I mean, I modeled the bonus, and there's something that only Smalltalk can provide, or makes it easy. I have fixed bonus, like I can say, for instance, well, you have the sum. It has a fixed bonus of 25 and 10. That may be this peer assistance, the fact that he's doing with Smalltalk, so it's easier. And then the concept of the variable bonus that considers the character and some adds up the memory and the reasoning, and then another variable bonus that sums up the years of study and practice. Okay, this is something that can be really easily to model in Smalltalk because I have the blocks, so I can make this concept of the variable bonus that, I don't know, if I started this with Java, I don't know how this would have ended up. Maybe it would seem more complicated when the concept is really simple. Okay, so the skill. This is something that I consider it's really good as a concept for any development that you make. It happens a lot where I have in this case the skill that needs to know about the character, but a lot of that, of how it works, is defined in terms of its skill definition. Okay, so programming will tell you that memory and reasoning are required, that it should work with the character years of study and training. Skills also help, the skill definition will also have a classification that will help me in maybe doing some double dispatch to see how to solve the situation. Okay, it's not the same to do a moving maneuver than to have an offensive bonus. Okay, because the target, the way of solving it, it's different, and I need the rules to solve that to be in the code. Another important thing that I have, of course, is the role, but most of the time what I want is more than an unmodified role, what the player wants. I need a modification maybe based on the skill bonus, and then, I don't know, maybe double 1, double 2 is an important unmodified role, but I need an object that is more complex than that, so I can pass it along, and different parts of the rules will take consideration of what they need, will consider what they require. So apart from that, also I told you that there's the rule books. Rolemaster has some core books like a character law for character creation, another for combat, for magic, and a book that helps in storytelling. So what I have is basically a class called character law, which handles the professions, the races. It has the tables that were previously in the book. It's now all modeled, and it's really been a great aid. Okay, and I have the arms law. For instance, the arms law is the one you can send a message. What's the damage on a table for an attack against a type of armor? Okay, so every part of the game is it's modeled. And a good thing also that has helped me with, that's been good of doing this in Smalltalk and having all the advantage of that is I bought another book to resolve combat, and I just converted the arms law into a hierarchy. Okay, so one book solves things in one way, maybe the other solves things in another way. Okay, and that is modeled there. I can change my decision on which rules to use. I can change my policy. Right now, not on runtime, but I can change maybe some little part of the system, and then everything goes on. Well, I have the spell law with the spell list, casting resolution, the failure, and also, as I told you, the game master law, that it helps with the adventure. I can tell you, okay, start an adventure name like that, and I have a server that keeps the status. So then another thing that I wanted to share with you was about Seaside. Okay, Seaside really helped me with the visual presentation, and also I'm gonna tell them about some other advantages that I'm thinking about using with Seaside. The project, I mean, without Seaside and everything, the idea started in like 7 years ago. We started using it just to handle the characters, because the character sheets were taking a lot of our time. But then the good thing is that once the basics were solved, we started adding functionality, and then as the combat and the adventure functionality was in the system, we started using it while playing. That was something that, I don't know, I never would have thought about, having the computer assist me and replacing a pile of books. Okay, and it's maybe it's the same that has happened in other areas where money was involved. So people say, okay, we have too many books in accounting, let's write a system that handles accounting. Okay, what I've discovered is that applies to anything, and it has been a great aid. So since last year, we're using also the Seaside version that has allowed us to do even more, to speed up deployment and the functionality, and it also enables obviously the visual aspect of it, because has been really easy to just take some ideas or take some JavaScript or jQuery plugins and use them in the system. I'll tell you just quickly about some interesting objects that came up when doing the Seaside, because they may be of use. I just tell you the ideas, but I have what's called a user interaction policy. It's basically like a JavaScript library, but it's dynamic. It has the logic to generate JavaScript code that is then used in Seaside. And the good thing is that it has evolved into something that creates JavaScript code that it's readable. Because with Seaside, the basic functionality, it's just call the server and you have the key and the session. And it's been really easy then to learn, to read and see what's going in JavaScript using this. I have a hover menu and some interesting pluggable views. And another thing that it's really interesting is the concept of the web view to web dialog adapter, because jQuery has a dialog concept, okay? And in Seaside you can prepare a view, but then with this object I was able to turn any component, any Seaside component into a window that can handle the events that happen when you accept the window. That's obviously using the user interaction policy, which also I've learned that it's quite interesting that up to now, every time that you use a component, the logic for triggering it does not change. A button is like always triggered when it's clicked. The dialog, you only want to do something when the window is accepted. I mean the bigger view. Maybe you have a text input that you want to do something, to trigger something on change, or maybe you want to change something to trigger the actions on key up. Yeah, okay. As you type to fill something, to do a search. But up to now, it has not happened that the same view has two different triggering policies. Okay, so that's made really simple the way that the user interaction policy ended up looking. Okay, so with all that, I can do now what I call the web-assisted gaming, okay? I can, I don't know how much time we have. It's fine? 10 minutes? Okay. 50 minutes? Okay, so 15 minutes? Okay. No, that's fine. No, that means I'm, as usual, going quite fast. Maybe I should slow down. Okay, well, then I have time for some little demos that I have. I'll show you the character creation wizard. Huh? Okay, so, no, that's not the character creation wizard. That's the character creation wizard, sorry. Okay, so this is all done in Smalltalk and using Seaside and the components that I told you. Another thing that was, once I had everything ready for the players to keep up with their characters and during the adventures, the next part that was hard was creating new characters, because we had added a lot of rules and it usually takes more than a day to create a character, because the rules are in different games, only I remember them, and they were always asking, so now with this I don't have to remember them, the system remembers them for me. Okay, so obviously creating something like a character required steps, so I'm using Seaside session. I can model the steps and pass information from one view to the next in the wizard. So I don't know, I can choose a fighter, refresh it. I can choose a fighter, okay, and then I go on to the race. Oh, well, lots of stuff that I can do. What ends up happening is that you have a sorry. No, okay, I'm not. I don't want you to. Well, okay, if you then you can look at it if you want. But it still takes a while to create a complete character. Okay, that's why I'm not stopping on each, because I had to like teach you the basics of the game first. So what I want to say is just that once you complete all the steps. You gave the name. Yeah, I told you that one of the important parts was for the character to have a name, because that's used for instance, naming the file that it creates. Once that's done, they can go on and use the desktop version that we have for leveling up the character and keeping track of it and printing the sheet, because maybe even though I have made all of this, there are some things that the people playing it are still refusing to lose. Okay, they want a paper with the stats of their character sheet, at least one paper. I don't have any code that reifies the concept of the dice nor of the chance, because no player wants to leave that up to the computer. Okay, they want to have their dice and to roll them and to feel that they are playing. I just code the part that they don't like. Okay, the part that if I forget a rule, I want the system to remember it. Oh, sorry. I'm hearing myself here. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, and the other thing that they have, as I told you, it's okay there. Yeah. This is what we use. This netbook is used at the table. Okay, so I have the characters, and the characters can have different actions. They can, let's see, I don't know, make a maneuver, and you'll see here what I was telling you. Okay, this is the web dialog adapter, and it has an on accept trigger policy, and this has a on key up trigger policy. So they don't have this is like a fantasy role playing what I do, so I don't have programming as a skill here, but I don't know, I have swimming maybe. You see, so I write and it solves everything, and obviously, well, then here is where the roll goes. So I don't know, maybe it's 76. And it gives a description of what happened. This is a moving maneuver, so it has a percentage, but maybe if you are trying to see if you can train swine, see it's a near success, and maybe say, no, it's very hard, so it changes. This is all done using JavaScript, jQuery, okay? It never reloads the page, so it's been quite interesting. And then, well, I have the log for what's happened, so I don't have to remember everything that's been happening. You can also, here, okay, maybe, I know, this character, it's a very powerful monk who can attack maybe this guy. So it say, okay, it's using this kind of attack, and the other is using these defenses, and now they roll 77, so they do some damage, okay? So once the damage is done, you see that it refreshes the full life. So you can see what's going on, and this giving it a visual representation really aids in everyday, well, gaming, not everyday work, because this is just gaming. Also what happened was that sometimes, as this was made easier, that's something I think happens a lot. Okay, this has made gaming easier. So what happens, we try to push it, okay, to the limit. And then maybe I didn't used to have like 5 people playing. I used only to have 3 players at the table because I couldn't handle it. And the enemies maybe were 3. But now I was more comfortable, so then you add a spider, and I don't know, you add this pomposito, that is the boar, and I don't know, maybe a snow lion. Okay, so once this starts to add up, you can handle everything. I had this done with a query that has all the interaction for the spatial positions, but this became unmanageable. So what I had to do was create another Seaside application, okay? That is what I call the mass combat. When combat is just too massive, I just created another application, okay? So the concept scales in a way, because if it's not scaling, you just rethink the way you're handling it. I don't know, I redesigned the interface to be simpler when things are too complex. Okay, so I think I now have time, let me see, for questions. Well, that's like a screenshot in case I didn't have time, but luckily I did. So this, as my wife said, shows that you can play it on a tablet with this effect. We're using it right now here. And what's to come? Well, a personal character application using smartphone browsers. We are already thinking on that because players want to have the paper, but if you have a, I don't know, 5 inches Android phone, you can consult anything you want on the tablet. And this is just Seaside. So I have the Wi-Fi connection at home, and you can do it. Interactive map navigation using a tablet browser. Maybe you could say, okay, I move from here to here, and it's quite easier for people to understand where they are going. That's something, I don't know, maybe people in routing or who have to do delivery are using it, but we can use it for gaming. Why not? And also alternative rule play testing. If I want to change a rule on runtime, I'm thinking of that. And also once I'm comfortable with all the web user interface components, I'm sure to release it, I don't know, as a Faro package or something, so that other people can use it, work on it. And now we have time for questions, I guess. Yes, so far I'm working alone it because as I don't have alternative rule, like I don't have this alternative rule play testing developed. If another group plays it, they had to play by our rules, and that's not the idea. There are also a problem with this kind of software because it exists, maybe not in Smalltalk obviously, but I've seen it, and the problem is that most people, or either they spend a lot of time coding their own rules, or they take so much time coding all the possible rules so that everyone can use it that they don't use it. So I started doing this, I mean, to help me and my group, and now that I'm more comfortable with it, I may start sharing. There's also some copyright issues because I'm putting too much of the rules in the code. And the company that makes the game had a policy against that, so you could only use it for your own group if you made software. They stated that quite a few times. And well, last year they changed that policy, now you can talk with them, so I may start doing something of that.
I had a question. How do people interact? Isn't it more fun now that you have a laptop there? Would it make sense to have everybody using that laptop?
Well, Up to now, I'm the only one like using it while we play. Okay, I do this, I mean, to keep track of everything, but it's also allowed me to have more time to be like at the table with the people talking, and I don't have to write down almost nothing, I mean, almost anything. They tell me they make an attack, I see the results, I tell them how it went, and we move on with the story. Okay, as we haven't started adding this other personal browser interfaces, I don't know how that's going to work. You mean if everyone will be like just looking at the tablet? Yeah. I'm guessing the difference here, the reason we played is it's instead of, I don't know, playing World of Warcraft, that we do obviously, but it's different because you can like talk to people and the situations are different. I don't think this can scale up to the point where the whole story is told by the computer. Okay, because there's always some room for flexibility. Oh no, it's not like the options are fixed. Sometimes, something I didn't show, you can access directly the character's status. So if they receive some damage and I have no way to put that in the system, I just access like the visually, of course, but I go to the character status and I say, okay, this guy has less hit points. I don't know. So that's maybe next year I could tell you. Maybe I can bring an experience report on that. I know.
How big is the village? How many classes?
It's done in Visualworks. It has like 3 big modules. No. 100, 150 classes, maybe, I don't know. Something like that. Okay? More questions? Carlos has a question.
Do we use it to simulate battles? Because when directing an adventure, sometimes it's difficult to adjust the level of the opponents to your group. You don't intend to kill them all, and you don't intend to be too easy on them.
Yeah, I think a few times we've done that. More on it's been more like the other way around. The players end up creating their character, and they say, no, my character sucks. I don't know, it's gonna lose every battle. And I tell you, no, let's look at the facts. And so I load some of the typical enemies, and I say, okay, look, against this opponent you have done so much damage, and we can check like the viability of a character before starting to play. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks.